Hello there and welcome to the Bicycle Diaries and welcome to 2020. So here we are, it's early January and Christmas is well and truly behind us. And I would imagine that many of you out there have overindulged in festive food and drink. I know I certainly have. And as a result, I've put on a few kilos and lost a bit of fitness. But not to worry, I've got a plan. And that plan is going to ultimately culminate in a rather long cycling event towards the end of the year, so mid-September or early October. At this precise moment in time, I don't exactly know what shape or form that cycling event will be. All I do know is that it will be over several days, so about a week or so. It will be quite tough and challenging, and it will almost certainly be abroad, so either in Mallorca or France or possibly even somewhere else. Now obviously I'm going to have to put in a fair bit of training if I'm to get fit enough to do this event justice. And being in September, October time, that means it's 10 months away. Now that's both a good and a bad thing. It's good because it gives me plenty of time to actually get fit to be able to do it. But it's also a bad thing because it's so far away, it's very easy for me to kind of put it to the back of my mind, kid myself that I've got plenty of time to do it, and then not really focus on any of the training. So to prevent me from doing that, I've built in a few little milestone events to help me along my way. So things like being able to ride my first 100 kilometre ride of the year, things like the Isle of Wight randonnée, a possible training camp down in France in the summer, and also a few other little kind of sportive events along the way. Now the first of those milestones is in mid-March, and it will be me being able to ride my first 100 kilometre ride of the year. I suppose the burning question at the moment is, what level of fitness am I at right now? If you watched the vlogs that I did just before Christmas, you'll know that I went down to the south of France and was cycling with Chris Bratherton of the Pyrenees.cc. And on those rides I rather surprised myself. On the first day we went out and did about 60 kilometres on a fairly flat course, and Chris did up the speed a fair bit, and although I was sitting on his wheel I was able to keep up with him fairly respectably. And then on the last two rides we did some fairly tough climbs, and again I was able to get up them. I wasn't going up them particularly fast, I just chugged my way up, but yeah, I got up them nonetheless. That said, I would rate my fitness right at this particular moment as being at about 20%. So it's not exactly back at square one, but it's nothing to write home about either. I obviously have a lot of work to do, and having this initial goal of being able to ride 100 kilometres in about 10 weeks' time is really going to focus me. And what better way to test that fitness than to go out on my first proper road ride of the new decade. On today's ride, I'm not out to do any heroics or get any PRs or anything like that. I'm
just doing a nice, relatively easy bog standard route. So I've come out on the Buns, Bent and Hoe, which is, as you probably know if you watch this vlog regularly, about 30 kilometres with a couple of fairly respectable climbs. Under normal circumstances I can do this route in about an hour and 15. When I'm feeling good and fit, I can do the first 25 in just under an hour. I'm way off that at the moment, so at this time of year it's just a question of getting seat time and kilometres. And my general rule of thumb is that I think I've done my base miles by the time I've done about 60-70 hours of seat time and about 1,500 kilometres under my belt. The weather today isn't too bad, although it's not raining at this particular moment in time. It has been raining over the last few days, and consequently there are some fairly big, fairly deep puddles around. Plus it's very windy today, so that's making today's ride a bit difficult. But even though it's only still January, the temperature's not too bad. So it's about 11 degrees today, so fairly pleasant. Route. It's one of the highest points in Hampshire, and it's actually very, very windy up here right now, so I don't know if you can hear me or not. But yeah, here we are at the beginning of January, and obviously coming out of Christmas, we've all eaten too much, we've all sort of neglected riding our bikes, and it's that time of year where we need to kind of get fit. So my strategy this time of year is to ride lower gears, try and keep my heart rate between 70 and 80% of my max, maintaining about a 90 cadence, and just chip away at my base miles. First of today's two climbs behind me, so that's Grenville Hill done. I must admit I did find that quite hard, but now I've got the climb up Broad Halfpenny down to the Batten Ball. Fortunately the wind is behind me, but I still don't think it's going to be an easy one.
Ashamed as I am to admit it, I have to say I found that rather hard going. Considering it was only the Buns, Bent and Hoe route, so 30 kilometres and a ride that I do fairly frequently, that's not good. Clearly my fitness isn't quite what I first thought it was. A moment ago I thought I was perhaps at 20%, but today's ride has suggested that I might even be back at square one, or possibly even below that. This early on in the base miles, my emphasis has to be on building up my cardiovascular fitness. So again, just riding lower gears, higher revs, and keeping my heart rate between 70 and 80% of its maximum. And then that way, hopefully I can get that base fitness there and then start working on the speed and distance a little bit later on when I'm ready for it. Now obviously exercise is only half of the equation. The other half is losing a few kilos and trying to improve my power to weight ratio. And with this in mind, I will be trying to eat a lot more healthily. So I'm not going to try any of the more unusual diets. So I'm not going keto, I'm not going vegan or anything like that. I'm just going to try the traditional sensible eating. So lots of fruits and vegetables, less meat, less fatty foods, and just trying to be a bit more healthy with what I eat. I'm under no illusions though. The excesses of Christmas and the New Year has set my fitness back to square one, and I do have a lot of work to do. But the good news is that if I continue putting in the hard work, it can only get better from here. Thanks for watching.